Hey guys, this is Martin. I've been a dating and relationship coach for 17 years. And today we're going to talk about why you shouldn't worry and be afraid of your partner leaving you. Now, the first thing is that worrying about your partner leaving you is a very unattractive trait. Because the fact that you think your partner would leave you implies that you are not good enough for her or that she could do better than you. So automatically, by worrying about it and by engaging in what evolutionary psychologists call mate guarding behavior, you're automatically displaying low value. Now, I want to add a caveat, which is that sometimes you need to display mate guarding behavior because your girl is trying to generate, like, she doesn't think that you're that into her. So she may purposefully try to generate some sense of insecurity in you just for the purpose of feeling that you really care about her and that she matters to you. So if you play like too aloof, and I've done this in the past, when I first was learning about how to be better with women, they were, saying, oh, instead of putting the girl up on the pedestal, you have to act like you're the prize. And I was like, okay, I got it. And it's true, it helped immensely to be more, laid back and whatever about girls. And it made me look like, of course, like, why would I worry? But the thing is that it flipped and the girls became insecure. And I remember one time I was at the club with this girl that I was really into, the first like super fine girl that I got, the first girl that I got that I thought was super fine. And we were at the club and she was there with her, she wanted to go that night. She was with me and then she wanted to go that night because her friend was going to be there. So I said, sure, we can go. So we went and, she's hanging out with her friend. So I was making the rounds and, chatting up people because I used to go to that club a lot. And then, I came back to her and sat down next to her and she's over there and she starts crying and she goes, and I was like, what's wrong? What are you crying about? She's like, you're so cool. You could have any girl in this club. And I was like, holy shit, that is so not true. But of course I didn't want to tell her that. I was like, oh, it's so cute that you're jealous. Don't worry, baby. I'm really, I'm not interested in these other girls because, I'm happy with you. And so sometimes, now this isn't an example where she was purposely trying to trigger my insecurity, but sometimes girls will do that. Some girls will go and approach, or chat up other guys or seem very receptive to guys chatting them up because they want to see your reaction. And it's not that they want to actually make you angry. It's that they feel like, oh, maybe this guy doesn't care about me. And now you could say, and I know plenty of people would go, oh, if a girl acts like that, that's a red flag. But the thing is that it's not a red flag. People have different methods, ideas, patterns that they've learned. And just because she has a pattern that you don't like or that you think is not very healthy doesn't mean that she is a bad person. It might be that if she had another script, another habit, another way of generating that attention, that might be the only way she knows to generate that attention. And so one of the things that I talk about a lot with my clients is if you don't like something that your girl does, or if you don't like the way she does something, and especially if she's doing something you don't like, you can't just tell her stop doing that. You've got to replace that behavior with something else. And in general, any girl you date will have a lot of things that she does that you think are not ideal. And so what you want to do is always try to introduce her to other behaviors that you think are better. Or if you don't, and when I say you think are better, I mean that make you happier in the relationship with her, right? That's what I mean. So, let's say that, she sits around at home and watches TikTok all the time, right? Okay, well, if she stays at home and watches TikTok all the time, you can give her some suggestions of something else to do. Like, why don't you do stretching and get more flexible? Or why don't you Why don't you read some books? Or, it doesn't really matter, but you can give her some suggestions. You could buy her a book. You can send her a stretching video on YouTube that she could follow along with, right? So you can give her options that maybe she didn't consider on her own because she's in her habitual patterns, right? Everyone has their habitual patterns, and some of them, in her case, and in your case also, are going to be good, and some of them are going to be not good. And when I say good, I mean some of them are going to be things that you think are positive and for the relationship and that make you like her more, and some of those things are going to be things that make you like her less. So you want to give her more and more things to do that make you like her more, because the more you like her, the more you're going to put into the relationship, and the less the things you don't like are going to bother you. Okay? But anyway, so as I was saying, we have these scripts or habits or patterns of behavior that she might engage in. And some people, as I said, they'd say, oh, it's a red flag. And it's like, maybe not. Maybe it's just a habit or, that she has, or a pattern that she has. And you can replace that with another pattern. You can give her other ways to show you that, you can give her other ways to show that you're important to her. So like, here's an example. I had a girl who was really insecure. She was insecure. It's typical. If you're doing things right, your girl should be at least a little bit insecure, because she should feel that you're such a great guy that lots of women want to be with you. So anyway, now I'm not saying that you should purposefully try to make her insecure. I'm just saying that that's kind of a naturally occurring phenomena. And, then you have to work to make her more secure. And so, and she always, she felt insecure, and she would want to text me a lot. And, I know a lot of you guys, your girl wants to text you because she feels insecure and you think it's really annoying. And I also thought it was kind of annoying. But then what I did was I had her start sending me daily tit pics. Then I wasn't so annoyed to get messages from her, because I was like, oh shit, let's see these tits again today. So, that's just one example. That was my example. It could be something else for you. Like maybe there's a book that you really like, or some music that you really like, and you could send it to her, and or something, or you could tell her, hey, if you find any like good music today, why don't you send it to me? And so then she's sending you music, right? So you can give her specific things that are things that she can do to get more of your attention. It could be, for example, like she texts you and, she wants some attention and she's texting you, and you text her back, and you might say, oh, I sent you that stretching video. Did you try it out? And then she says, oh, no, I didn't. He's like, oh, okay, well, when you try it out, you should let me know. So then next time she texts you, you can just bring it up. And then eventually she's likely to do it because you're showing her that that's something that you want her to do. Now, maybe that's not the thing. Maybe it needs to be something else. Or maybe she doesn't like that particular stretching video or whatever it is. But you get my point. Okay, so that's the first thing about why it's not good to be concerned about your girl leaving you. Like I said, all of that behavior, that mate guarding behavior, those showing of jealousy, following her around, in the beginning, it can be very endearing for women. As guys, we also can find it very endearing when girls seem super into us and are really clingy at first. But once the relationship gets going, that kind of stuff can be really annoying because it can get in the way of other things you need to do. Okay, so that's the first thing. And as I was saying, in this case, it just makes you look like you're not confident. Okay, now the second thing is that either she wants to be with you or she doesn't. And some guys, what they do is they like to put their girl in a little box and they keep her away from everybody else. And that way they feel, oh, she wouldn't leave me because, she really wouldn't encounter anybody that would attract her. I feel the opposite way. I want my girl to be out there and having the opportunity to meet other guys, because when she has the opportunity to meet other guys, she has the opportunity to choose me every time. See, and I feel if she chose me today and she chose me the next day and the next day and the next day after that, that's what gives me a sense of security, knowing that she, having other options, still thinks of me as the best one. Because if she has, goes through, meets 100 guys, and she meets all these guys and she thinks I'm better than all those 100 guys, why should I be worried? Okay, maybe there's going to be 1,000 guys. Then maybe out of 1,000 guys, maybe one of them is going to be more interesting than me, or she might have some interest in. But then there are a lot of hurdles to making it happen. There's timing. There's the fact that she would need to divert her time and energy and attention to this guy. And the thing is that if she's relatively satisfied in the relationship that she's having with me, and by relatively satisfied, I mean most of her needs are being met, then she's unlikely to bother to go through the effort of giving the amount of attention, time and attention to this other guy that she would need to find out for sure that he is a better match. So that's the other thing. And the next thing that I think is, if a girl is going to leave you, it's better if she leaves you now rather than 5 years from now or 6 years from now, right? It's like, you know, that to me is a way to avoid wasting time. Because if you have a girl who's naive and she doesn't have experience and she's been with you, and then, you know, suddenly, you know, I've heard about this with some guys, they get, they make a YouTube with their girl, and then their girl gets, you know, well known on YouTube, and then there's all these guys who are interested in her and DMing her and whatever, and then they lose their girl because their girl suddenly has all this attention she didn't have access to before. Now, if they'd gotten with a girl who already had plenty of access to lots of guys, then, you know, they wouldn't need to be, then that probably wouldn't happen. And so the way that I look at it is that the more opportunity she has to leave me, the more secure I can be that she really wants to stay. And once again, as I was saying, the more opportunity she has, she's probably going to leave you earlier in the relationship rather than later in the relationship. So it's better to lose 6 months or a year on a girl that's going to leave you than it is to, you know, waste 4 or 5 or 6 years. So I think those are the main things about why I would say that it's you shouldn't really be worried about a girl leaving you. I mean, if you're doing your part, right? I mean, because a lot of guys, they think that the girl shouldn't leave them, but they're also not putting in the work into the relationship. So that's the key aspect. It's like, you know, I've been in situations where girls didn't want to be with me any longer, but it wasn't because they were unhappy. They were unhappy with how much I was willing to put in. So that was under my control. I could have decided to put more into the relationship if I valued them more, right? So I was putting in the amount of work I was comfortable with putting in. And so if I'm putting in the amount of work, knowing that I could put in more, but that's the amount that I want to put in and it's not enough, that's a choice on my part. And then, you know, why should I be worried about that? It's a choice. I'm choosing that. I don't expect some chick to just stick around just 'cause. I mean, maybe, you know, after you've been married and you had a couple kids and that sort of thing, you know, when you really have built a life together. But when it's like you have two separate lives and you're dating, that's very different from you have a life that you're doing together, right? So, yeah. Anything else? Okay. All right. Well, thanks for joining me today. If you have any questions or comments, you can leave them below. Like and subscribe. And don't be a dick in the comments. I don't like dicks.